If you want to learn how to test ICs and how to troubleshoot it efficiently, this video is for you. I'm going to teach you a unique techniques to diagnose any IC. Let's get started. First, you have to know that the ICs are connected together. Do you see these parts here? This IC controls this IC, and this IC controls this MOSFET over here. So if you didn't get the output here in this MOSFET, doesn't mean the MOSFET is the failed one. You have to check the control signal in the gate of this MOSFET. Of course, the gate of this MOSFET is controlled by this IC. If you find the signal in the gate is 0, doesn't mean this IC is the failed one. No, this IC also gets some inputs from this control IC. Basically, this is a microcontroller. Also, when you didn't get the outputs here in this microcontroller, doesn't mean the microcontroller is the failed component. You have to check the inputs over here. Without the inputs, this microcontroller will not generate the outputs. And the outputs of this microcontroller will be the inputs of this IC. Then the IC will generate other outputs to control these MOSFETs. And without the signal in the gate, those MOSFETs will not work. So this is why you have to understand the connection between ICs and components. I teach you here the process and to avoid removing ICs randomly. You have to know connections and also why capacitors are around ICs. Basically, this kind of capacitors, as you can see, these ceramic capacitors, those are present here for 3 purposes: for stabilization, to stabilize the IC, for decoupling, and for filtering. Always capacitor means power rail. So how can we check if an IC is good or not? The best method to check the serviceability of an IC is to refer to its schematic and check the inputs and outputs. But don't worry, I'll give you the simple methods. So this is the very efficient method to check the VCC, enable, clock signal, etc. based on its schematic. When the input signals are present, all of them, you will get the outputs. But if one of those are missing, of course, you will not get the output. And when you will not get the output, doesn't mean the failed component is the IC. The second method that professional technicians use is to check the ceramic capacitors around the IC. So usually ceramic capacitors around ICs are connected to the ground in one side and to the IC in the other side. If the capacitors around the IC are not shorted, means the IC is good, not shorted. Let's see an example. So let me select the continuity mode here in the multimeter. The continuity mode is selected. Let's check these capacitors around this IC. Okay, no short, no short, no short, good capacitors. Let's check this one here. So let's check this IC. So let me check the capacitor next to it. Do you see 0 in the multimeter? The shorted component is not the capacitor, it's the IC. If I check this IC, the same as this one, let's check no short. But this one, we have a short. So just based on the capacitors around the IC, you will know if the IC is shorted or not. Let me explain to you in the schematic and then come back and continue. Any IC is connected to the ground and connected to many capacitors. So when the IC is shorted, this capacitor will be connected to the ground in the second side. The capacitor connected to the ground in this side, and when the IC becomes shorted, as you can see, this capacitor will be connected to the ground in both sides. This one also, as you can see, will be connected to the ground in both sides. Then we get a buzzer using continuity mode. So the third method to check if the IC is serviceable or not is by checking the heat of the ICs using your finger. We have a rule. When a component is overheating above normal means shorted. So if you check, for example, the heat of this IC and you find it overheating 90%, the IC is the failed component. We use the same working principle for all ICs and even for capacitors. But of course, if you have a thermal camera, it will be easy to detect if the IC is failed or not. Now, let me break down all this into paper in order to understand 100%. Please remember this schematic. We have an IC here. This is the first IC. Okay, this IC has some inputs and of course some outputs. This IC usually could be connected to another IC. Okay, the outputs of this IC is the inputs of the second IC. Then we will get other outputs. So this output, for example, could be applied to a MOSFET. Here we have gate, drain, and source. This schematic basically is an advanced schematic. If you understand the schematic, your troubleshooting will be different and will be very efficient. So always remember input and output. Of course, there are some technicians that troubleshoot in this direction, from here to here, and others that troubleshoot in this direction, means from here to here. I prefer this one. This one is the good method to troubleshoot. Means, for example, let's assume that we have here 5 volts in the drain. Once this MOSFET is activated, this 5 volt, we will get 5 volt in this side. Okay, basically this MOSFET is not connected to the ground. Okay, we will get 5 volt in this side. But if you didn't get 5 volt here, doesn't mean the MOSFET is the failed component. You have to check first the gate. Control signal is 2 volt. You have to check the gate and look for 2 volts. We use this direction here, from MOSFET to this IC to this IC. If you find the control signal 2 volt in the gate and you didn't get 5 volt, means the MOSFET is the failed component. But if 2 volt here is missing here, you have to check the IC. The IC could be failed. Why? Because we don't get the output, the 2 volt. But before removing the IC, you have to check inputs. For example, VCC. Is VCC present, enable signal or not? If you find these all inputs are good, 100% the IC is failed. But if one of the inputs are missing, the IC is not the failed one, neither the MOSFET. You have to go back to the IC, the source of all this, and check its inputs. If we find that all inputs are good and the enable signal is not generated to activate this IC, means this is the failed component. Not this one, not this one. I hope you understand. Please, if you understand this course, make sure you like the video and share it with other friends. And feel free to comment below. I always do my best to answer all comments.